Hello and welcome to the Conservative Poet. I am Amanya and I'm super excited. This is like my second actual live stream. So I'm really excited for it. Oh, we have somebody. Hello, the Arena Uncensored. Hello, friend. How are you? Welcome. It's just you and I. So we're going to have a conversation, just you and I. So, really glad that you're here. So, I've got a couple of things planned. I really have been seeing what's been going on in Georgia. And I'm just like, I don't know what's happening, but we haven't covered Fani Willis in a while. And so I'm like, well, you know what? There's so much going on. Let me just do a live stream because there's like so many different aspects to what's happening in Georgia. I was like, I just want to do a live and just sort of bring it all together from, oh, you are in Georgia. Oh boy. So you in the thick of things. You in the middle of the Fani Willis mess. The Fani Willis madness. So you got your pulse on it, as they say. You got your fingers on there. Well, I'm gonna try my best to cover some of it. So you've got what do you have? You have Fani winning re-election. Well, she didn't win re-election. She won her primary for the election. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and her competitor or her challenger on the Republican side. And we're going to meet her. Her name is Courtney Kramer. So we're going to meet her and see what we think about her. And we also have a ex-police woman, ex-attorney turned rogue who got herself in trouble for using the COVID money to do all kinds of things, and then she kind of gave some to Fani Willis. So yeah, Fani Willis actually getting benefits from the COVID money, allegedly. I'm just saying it's alleged. And then there is the RICO trial with the young slime boys who the judge is doing all kinds of things, had that lawyer arrested and everything. So we've got a good amount of things to cover. And so we're going to get into it. But before we do, there is a clip that I would like to share. And I made a video about this about a month or so back, or maybe a little bit more. I think that was like the last time I talked Fani Willis was when State Representative, I think her name is Maynor, who had some issues with Fani Willis and how she's conducted herself. And so Miss Maynor had a press conference with some of her fellow Georgians. Am I saying that right, the Arena? Her fellow Georgians, or you guys as fellow Georgians. And so she had a crew of people who were talking, and so one of them really laid it out how corrupt Georgia is and all of the foolishness that goes on, like with the prisons and the oligarchs, the people who's in charge, these kinds of folks. And so I want to start with that just so we can lay the foundation of, what people actually think about Fani Willis and her tenure as Queen Madame in Georgia, in Fulton County. So, and then we're going to take a look at also Fani Willis and her acceptance speech, if we'll call it that, when on primary night, when she won, she came out to have a speech. So we'll cover that. And so it's going to be a fun night. We're going to look at several clips and we're just going to chill out and we're just going to have a nice session. So I'm going to find where, because this was a long clip. So I'm going to find exactly where I want to play. I wish I'd done that earlier, but I didn't have time to. So I'm going to pull it up and then I'm going to find where I want to play, where you'll be able to see these folks who had a few choice things to say about Fani and her leadership. We'll call it that. Fani and her leadership. All right.
Prosecuting attorney's qualifications after I contacted the U.S. Department arrested without bond. By the end of 2023, 90% of the people in custody were Black. This is not a time to give awards to people for failing to do their job. The Georgia General Assembly enacted a law mandating bail amounts to reflect a defendant's income. Excessive bonds can be rectified swiftly under these laws. Mismanagement in the DA's office shouldn't jeopardize someone's livelihood. Before I go to the next speaker, I want to say one last thing. DA Willis, backed by Commissioner Arrington, has spent millions prosecuting 2 celebrities. This allocation of funds adversely impacts the residents I represent. Standing up against political figures like Arrington and Willis is daunting. Living in a system that feels broken and corrupt and facing retaliation for protecting my family is disheartening. Yet I am supported by brave individuals that were not scared to stand next to me. There are also many brave individuals that have been contacting me about their stories. To those listening, don't hesitate to share your story. You have a community of supporters that will assist you. If you've been victimized by Commissioner Arrington or DA Willis, contact my office. Remember, victims should never blame themselves for things beyond their control. There's no excuse for anyone to violate, harass, intimidate, or stalk you. Trust your instincts and take steps to protect yourself. I'm going to have L.A. Pink from the Street Groomers come and speak.
Okay, still trying to figure out how to work this thing. Thank you. So Miss L.A. Pink, when I first saw this, and she talked about the young slime, I forget how it goes, YSL, young slime life, young thug. So she mentioned that, and I was like, what is that about? Like, I don't know what that means. So I had to go and look. And so I fell down the rabbit hole and I came up. Now I know it, young slime life. So, and it was thanks to her and my curiosity, because I did not know this was going on, and only to find out that thing has been going on for a while. Like, this didn't just, it's been going on for like over 100 days, this trial. It's been going on for years. Fani Willis trying to make her name, she's out to get them. So that's what we're going to look at. That's why I wanted to just lay the foundation of how these people see Fani Willis, and how is it that Fani Willis got nearly 80% of the vote for reelection. I'll never know. She got the guy she ran against, or the one who challenged her, the other Democrat, the gentleman, I think he got like 11%, or was it 11,000? Like, actually, no, he got like 5,000 people voted for him. It was disgusting. But anyway, let us continue with her.
Good evening, everyone. I am L.A. Pink. I am the president and first lady of Street Groomers. I stand here today in honor of our state representative, Misha Maynor. I hate that she has to endure the things that she has had to endure. But we've been talking about this for years, the abandonment that Fani Willis have left in Fulton County, the abandonment that she have left to the families that have lost their loved ones, to the jail, to the streets, and the police brutality, are just the things that are going on in our system. We have Nigel Collins, we have Jamarian Robinson, we have Kane Rogers, we have Jimmy Atchison. These cases are indicted cases that have been left undone. Money that have been gathered from our commissioners to attack these situations that have not been addressed yet. We have a young man that have been in jail for 5 years, waiting for just a trial, waiting to see a judge, and have not yet seen a judge. There are so many things that she can be doing instead of chasing Trump and chasing after the YSL case. A case with the YSL that we feel that is more of a love affair and a retaliation of someone that's in the indictment. So today we stand here because enough is enough.
Woo! How do I stop?
My district is somewhat big. I wanted to get some leaders from all sides. I'm going to have Mr. Mike Roberts come up and speak.
Good morning.
Oh, he was great. He was the one who gave Fani the hammer. Got my hammer right here. He gave her the hammer because he laid it out good. This one is really good, y'all. Listen to him carefully because he knows, I think he knows where some of the bodies are buried.
My name is Mike Russell. I'm a resident here in Atlanta, and I stand this morning humbled and proud to be with Representative Maynard and L.A. Pink. These are two very strong, courageous women that do everything in their power to help those who are less fortunate, those who feel powerless in our county and in our city. L.A. Pink, for those of you who don't know her, she fights every day for the homeless, for the victims of our society. She feeds them out of her own pocket. Representative Maynard has done nothing but reach out and try to help everybody in our community, starting with the youngest amongst us. And I am appalled at what's happening in our community today. And it is time to end the cult of corruption here in Fulton County, starting with DA Fani Willis. She has done everything for everybody else except for the people of Fulton County. Why is she in New York and D.C. raising funds to be reelected as the DA in Fulton County? I've had victims come to me. I'm not a public official, but they know that I will stand up for them. I've had victims come to me, a family, a mother and a daughter, whose loved one was murdered over a year ago. Their trial of the perpetrator keeps being delayed because Fani Willis says she has more important things to do. What is more important than a murder trial? And this guy is out on bail with an ankle bracelet, and he's a previously convicted felon. Just this week, I had a businessman who had $30,000 stolen from him. The perpetrator, a known felon, had a large screen, flat screen television delivered to her residence. Atlanta Police Department did the investigation, handed the evidence to Fani Willis' office. Without contacting the victim, she dismissed the case. And then you have the overcrowding in the jail because she fails to prosecute when we have people there up to 5 years who have not seen a judge, in a jail that's being mismanaged by Sheriff Labatt. The culture of corruption needs to end. And they're all together. Sheriff Labatt, Fani Willis, Marvin Arrington, Natalie Hall. You see one, you see them all. And every one of them have violated the trust of the public. Natalie Hall cost us $1 million stalking a victim. She was not charged by Fani Willis, her friend. Let me say that again for those of you who don't know. Commissioner Hall cost the taxpayers of Fulton County $1 million because she stalked her victim that worked for her, planted tracking devices in his vehicle. She was not prosecuted by our DA, Fani Willis. Why? This corruption in Fulton County needs to end, and our lawmakers need to take them and hold them to account. And I'm hoping that the voters of Fulton County are paying attention and will vote for a clean slate of candidates and stop this cult of corruption in our county.
Well, friend, I don't think the people got the memo. I don't think they got the memo. Hello, friends. The one-headed man is here. Hello. Lizette Taylor, hello. Yeah, vote Fani out. Hopefully, our Republican friend, her name is Courtney Kramer. Hopefully, the young girl can take down old Fani Willis. We're going to meet her in just a minute. But unfortunately, people did not hear this brother's warnings because Fani Willis was reelected. Well, she won her primary, and with nearly 80% of the vote. So, you know, that old trick the pastors did for her on that steps. You remember when they carried her down as if she was Queen Esther, and then they called her Queen Esther. You remember that? When all those pastors stood by and said, yeah, we're gonna make sure Fani gets back in. Well, looks like the old men did the job, because the old satanic Fani has been put back in by the men of God. The men of God holding up Fani Willis. Yeah, we're gonna move on from that. There's another person who had a good talking. Let's hear the other guy out, and then we're gonna hear from our Republican friend, Miss Kramer, who is going to try to take down the Fani machine.
I have two more individuals that have been personally impacted.
My name is Joel Watley. My last name is W-H-A-T-L-E-Y. I'm the father of Casey Watley, who's been incarcerated in Fulton County Jail for 5 years now. And as we're starting to see, there's a pattern of corruption within the district attorney's office. My son, like I say, has been incarcerated 5 years. The attorney he had was a current, a prior district attorney who had worked with Fani Willis previously. They came back and stated that they found evidence in my son's case after there was no evidence. They came back and said they found evidence and they had found fingerprints. Well, it came to find out in court that that was a lie. They said a second testing had been done and my son's fingerprints were found on the scene, and that was a lie. The attorney, Darrell Korn, tried to get my son to take a 20-year plea deal by falsifying evidence. And as you can see, corruption is just running rampant within Fulton County Jail. It's time for something to be done, man. We got to do something. Y'all allowing these kids to be locked up, knowing that lady is corrupt. She spent the money that was meant to help the kids, and then she RICO'd them. She RICO'd all the young people after she spent the money that was meant to help them, to create a safe environment for them not to have to be out here in these gangs. Now let's ask her what she did with that money. It's time to do something to clean up Fulton County. We're not talking about tomorrow. We need to start today. You got over 800 people in that jail who shouldn't be there, haven't been indicted. They won't take them to trial. How is that justice? And you know what the crazy thing is? Fulton County sit back and watch it.
Where am I? Golly, how do I make myself big again? There. So yeah, that guy's a little upset, and I can understand why. Fulton County, sit back and watch it happen. Fulton County, the pastors, the police, everybody, 80% of the community voted for Fani Willis. Actually, over 80% voted for Fani Willis in her reelection bid in the primary. Okay, we're going to take a look now at our young friend who is looking to take down Fani Willis. Let's see what we can decipher about her. She's young. She's a young attorney. I think she's 30 years old. She's got passion. She wants to do something for her community. She's born there, lived there, and she stood up. Hey, she stood up. So let's see what she got.
Question for me come November, because I kind of want to backtrack from that question if you don't mind. So Fulton County has not had a Republican qualify for district attorney in over 30 years. I'm 30 years old. So basically in my whole lifetime, we haven't had a Republican qualify. And Fani Willis is the first female district attorney. So I know for a fact we haven't had a female qualify in well over 30 years, probably 50, probably 60. You do the math. Fulton County hasn't had a voice for who their next DA is going to be. We've always been told on the ballot come November, it's one name. It's whoever qualifies, right? So it will be the Democrat nominee. Normally it's Paul Howard and now Fani Willis. We haven't had a Republican, and I think conservatives deserve a voice, and Fulton County deserves a choice in who their next DA is going to be, especially given the political climate the last 4 years and 8 years under Paul Howard.
Why did you decide to run?
Because I just want to effectuate change. Every job I've ever held, every position I've ever held is always, the goal is to effectuate change for the better. I'm born and raised in Fulton County. I've seen the decline of Fulton County under a Fani Willis administration, under a Paul Howard administration, and that's exactly why I decided to run. It's not safe anymore. People don't want to live here anymore. I don't think that's fair for the voters. I don't think it's fair for the citizens, and I think that, like I said, Fulton deserves a choice.
Are there any changes that people should expect if you were to be elected?
100%. You will have absolute transparency if I am elected, and accountability. I don't think we have that right now. We don't know where our money is going to. As a taxpayer, I have no idea where my money is going to. We get told vaguely where our money is going to and what it's being used for, but that's not really the case. If you talk to our Board of Commissioners in Fulton County, the current administration in the DA's office will request money, and that money will not be used for what it was supposed to be allocated for. That's a problem. We have to have accountability and transparency in this office, and that's exactly what I would bring to this office.
Last night on Rachel Maddow, Fani Willis said that you were challenging her, but you didn't really have many qualifications to actually take the office. What would your response to that be?
My response to that, and I watched that today actually, and I kind of giggled, but my response would be that in order to be, an attorney and especially a DA, you have to have a good head on your shoulders. You have to know the rules of professional conduct. You have to know when you have a conflict of interest, and I have that. Fani Willis has proven that she does not have that. So qualification-wise, it's ironic to me that she says that, because you have to be qualified to manage an office. You have to be qualified to manage people and know who is the best person for that office. And I'm 100% qualified in that regard. So that's what my response would be to her.
What about in terms of criminal defense prosecution? Do you have any experience with that, or how would you handle that if you were elected? So
in regards to that, I was, and she said it last night, I've been practicing for 4 years. But under our Constitution, you have to be a bar attorney for 3 years. So if our legislator wanted to up that requirement, they very well could. When I was in law school, I worked under Mike Carlson and Vic Reynolds in the DA's office in Cobb County. I've learned a lot in that office. I helped produce Carlson Rules of Evidence the last couple of years. I also would say that in regard to criminal prosecution, you have to know who you would hire. You have to know who the head of your offices would be. You have to know what ADAs you would hire. I know exactly who those people would be. I can't say that right now, but I know exactly who those people would be because I'm so connected with that community and in the community in Fulton County in general.
I think one of the biggest questions on people's mind when they see a Republican challenging her for that office, would you continue the prosecution against the former president?
So I've said it before, and I'll say it again on your show. I would recuse myself. I have to recuse myself because I was involved with President Trump. I was an intern in the White House, and then I was also an attorney for a couple of the defendants and a litigation consultant during the 2020 election. So I would recuse myself from that case.
Anything else that you think people should know?
I think that this race, everyone's talking about Republican versus Democrat, but it's not about that. This race is about not right versus left. It's about right versus wrong. And that's what I think Fulton County needs to know.
Okay, so there was our girl. We've got a couple of comments in reference to her. Our friend, the one-headed man, what'd you say? You said she's cool, though. I hope she wins. Well, friend, I hope she wins, too. She seems like she's got integrity, something Fani Willis surely don't have. So maybe just that. Maybe the Republicans will rally behind her. I know in Fulton County and Georgia and Atlanta and those areas, like I know it's a whole lot of Democrats. We know it's a whole, but I know we've got some red-blooded people there too. We got some Republicans and some conservatives. Again, Fani Willis won her primary with 80% or so of the vote. So let's hope that the Republicans can rally behind her so she can take down Fani Willis. She looked like she's up for the fight. She mentioned being an intern in the White House. I hope that was under President Trump. And she mentioned she worked in the DA's office, so she's got some experience. Hey, I live in an area where an Uber driver, okay, is now my congressman. So this girl got 4 years of law under her. I take that. She's got some experience. And what's most important is fight and spirit and tough skin, honey. You're going to have to get tough skin if you're going to take down the fanny pack. So I'm going to keep an eye out on this race to see how she do. Matter of fact, I'm going to take a look at her money to see where we're at. And see, where she's at, how she's fundraising. I actually went on Twitter and I started following her because I wanna keep up with this race. I want us to continue to be abreast on what's happening with her in this race. I know Fani has so many scandals, so many stuff going on, but I want to focus and see where this girl goes with her race, her fight, I should say, against the Goliath, Fani Pack. So what I'd like to do now is we're going to hear from the queen herself. We're going to see her talking in reference to her win of this primary. And we're going to have a little fun with her. I may stop and have a little fun with her with that. So we're going to remove this one. And we're going to bring in the queen, the Fani herself.
Was called for Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. Let's listen in.
Oh, wow.
Where'd she go?
Can I take my time?
Shut up.
I am just so humbled and so
Are you
grateful
now?
to the citizens of Fulton County who made this possible. Tonight, they delivered a strong and a powerful message. They want a district attorney that believes everyone deserves to be safe and everyone is entitled to some dignity. And it's a message that's pissing folks off, but there is no one above the law in this country, nor is there anyone beneath it.
Well, I'm going to stop right there. Fani Willis thinks she's above the law, right? And she the one underneath Nathan Wade, above the law and underneath. I'm just saying, I'm going to keep doing that, friends, because y'all know I got to have me some fun with Fanny Pack. I got to have some fun.
Might have been a gang problem in D.C., but there was not a gang problem in Atlanta. And we were saying, no, there is. And if you don't deal with reality, reality will deal with you. And so we put into effect a balanced approach. But I need everyone in here to understand this is just a pause. We are not to the end of the road. In fact, I submit to you, we're at the beginning. The campaign does not end tonight. It begins tonight. And so,
man, I hope that was wrong. I hope so, but let's see if our girl Courtney can do it and let it be the end of you, Fani Willis.
So right here tonight, this is a fundraiser in case you're confused. If you left some money at the door, go back and leave some more. I got 2 stores going on. Go and buy a t-shirt because you're going to need to wear it. Because we in this fight for the long haul. You all, in all seriousness, my opponent has super PACs already supporting her. The Republican Party of this country and the state have already supported her. But right here is a grassroots campaign. Nobody is supporting me but the people of Fulton County. And
that's a lie right there, because I done went through her money. She got donations, not just from Fulton County. She got money from other people. Okay, I done went through your numbers, friend. I done looked at your money. And we're going to look at some more.
So we need you all the way in. If you believe this campaign, a very brilliant woman last night, Rachel Maddow, said, that this campaign and this movement is the bellwether of democracy.
Yo, I wish I had pulled that Rachel Maddow clip, because I would have stuck it right here. She did just say Rachel Maddow is brilliant. Now, we all know that Rachel Maddow has mental disorders, right? She's got some issues, mental disorders. But for another mental disorderee, obviously you would see her as brilliant. Lee, brilliant. Rachel Maddow. That woman is psychotic. She Trump deranged. Just saying.
Folks off, but there is no one above the law in this country, nor is there any crime just going wild. We also were in a state where George Floyd had just been murdered, and it was on the back of many, many atrocities. And as a result of these ugly, ugly things that were happening in our communities, people were dissatisfied with law enforcement and the justice system. And guess what? They were right. There was no reason to have this. Also, there are many here that are on my team, and they know we walked into a district attorney's office that was completely broken. But if I didn't do anything else right, I put together a team of fierce warriors, and they are making a tremendous difference, changing the challenges. Let me say that for you again.
She put together a team of fierce warriors to do what exactly, Ms. Fani? What did they do? Because we're looking at what they're doing in the RICO case. Yeah, under your leadership, that mess is happening.
Again, what the mayor said, homicides are down 21%. That means mamas is going home hugging their babies. You understand?
That means mamas is going home hugging their babies. You understand? No, man, we don't understand, because you got a whole lot of criminals happening out there. Nobody understands.
Those aren't just numbers. That means mamas are attending their sons' graduations. They're going to their children's weddings. They are enjoying just having Sunday dinner, not buying caskets.
Girl, wasn't there a shooting right in her town in Atlanta yesterday? I didn't get to see much of it. If anybody know about it, drop something in the chat. There was a shooting in Atlanta yesterday. I think it was like 4 people got shot or 4 killed or something like that. The arena, if you're still with me, tell me in the chat if you know anything about that, those 4 people that got shot up yesterday.
I need you to understand that violent crime all over is down 25%. Rape is down 49%. Some of you will say, the doubters will say, well, crime is down all over the country. Yeah, it's down 5%.
Yo, where in the world is crime down across the country? Crime is up everywhere. What you talking about, Willis? Crime is up everywhere. Good Lord.
We doing something right here in Fulton County. Understand, we have the 3rd largest crime drop in America. We only chasing San Antonio, Texas, and Arlington, Texas, and they about to be in my rear view if you know me.
Oh, they about to be in my rear view if you know me. You know me. Yo, I can't.
We've done this by unapologetically going after violent criminals and the powerful, no matter how powerful they think they are, while giving first-time offenders a second chance.
That was a jab at Trump. We're going after them no matter how powerful they think they are. That was a straight-up jab for President Trump. What about you? What about Nathan Wade? Are you going to press charges against him for violating you? Violating?
We've developed programs for young people. I have the REACH program. It is the only program like that in the country where a DA's office is in the school system all year long. And folks challenge me on my budget, but Akeem Woodard, what I tell them, I'd rather see them in the classroom than in the courtroom. And this balanced approach is working because we are making tremendous progress. But please understand, I'm just getting started.
Girl, I hope they put an end to you soon. Hope that girl Courtney can get it done.
Making this community safer. And this election is bringing into focus very important matters about who matters. Should your safety depend on your zip code? What about your race? Should it depend on who you choose to love? Should it depend on if you're male or female? Bishop, I think it should apply to all of them. What you think, Bishop Jackson?
The church is there. The church is there to support this foolishness. Well, then again, Amanya, they're always there to support this foolishness. I'm so tired of the church and the way they, let me keep going. Let's go.
I want you all to understand, hear it now. My opponent is completely unqualified. Completely.
You unqualified. Completely.
She has less than 4 years of practicing law. She has never been in a criminal courtroom. But while she is inexperienced and unqualified and does not represent the values of my county, don't get confused. She is folks off, but there is no one.
What is the values of your county, right? You represent the values of your county. If 80% of your county has voted you in this way, then maybe your county has moral issues too. We're gonna.
That man over there, Chief Meadows of the city of South Fulton, we were really frustrated because we were telling people there was a gang problem. And people were acting like we had two heads. They said there was a gang problem in Chicago.
Anyway, I'm done with her. 4 lives cut short, 3 not including the prep at the Peachtree Center Mall yesterday. Oh, that was it. All right, we've had it with Fani. We're going to move on because there's only so much of her I can take. And so now what I'd like to do, we've seen her. There she is with her speech of her acceptance. And there is a clip, I don't have it, where they filmed her dancing on the dance floor, you know, getting her fanny clapped, getting her fanny slapped, dancing on the dance floor. That I really should have put that clip in, but unfortunately it's not here. But what I want to do now is bring in the ex-police woman. I'm going to pull her up. I'm going to remove you. So the ex-police woman, her name is Shalita Robertson, ex-police woman and ex-attorney. And, well, the woman who knows the law, right? Cop knows the law, right? And then attorney knows the law, right? Knows the law. Well, this woman had during the COVID, she had several businesses, and she went out and she got herself some PPP money, some COVID money. She got COVID money to the tunes of about $15 million. And then you know what she went out there and did? She went and got herself a Rolls Royce. Got herself a brand new spanking car. Sure she did. Then she went and got herself down. She got herself bling. She got some bling. What else did she do with the money? Oh, she gave some to Fani Willis. So our good friend Nate the lawyer is going to break this down for us. He does such a great job of pulling in these things. Now, if you don't know Nate the lawyer, please go and check him out. Georgia, go check out Nate the lawyer because he knows what he's talking about and he can pull it together. So we're going to now look at Nate the lawyer as he put this together for this woman, this ex-police woman, ex-attorney who gave Fani Willis money. All right, let's do it.
I am Shalita Robertson, and I want to serve as your Superior Court judge. For more than 30 years, I've served the public as a police officer, a public defender, and a city attorney. I love America. I respect the Constitution. I'll be effective, efficient, fair, and firm. I'll be an interpreter of the law, not an advocate. I am Shalitha Robertson, and I'm ready to be your judge.
On May 20th, vote Shalitha Robertson. Experience we can trust.
A few moments later.
Channel 2 Investigates has learned a former Atlanta City Attorney and Atlanta Police Department officer has been indicted on charges that she stole pandemic relief funds.
A Georgia jury convicts an Atlanta lawyer of defrauding the federal government out of more than $7 million in Paycheck Protection Program funds. A jury of 7 men and 5 women found Shalitha Robertson used the funds to buy a Rolls-Royce car, Lord have mercy, a motorcycle, and 10-carat diamond ring for $148,000, among other things.
And on top of all that, they believe that she donated some of that money to Fani Willis to help her get elected to DA. This is Shalitha Robertson. She's a former Atlanta assistant city attorney and an ex-cop in Georgia's largest city. Now, Robertson was arrested for defrauding the PPP program. For those of you who don't know, that's the payment protection program that was initiated under COVID. Now, if you guys don't remember, during COVID, during the government shutdown, businesses weren't allowed to open. So if businesses can't open, they can't pay their employees. So the government decided to help businesses pay their employees instead of just firing them because COVID wasn't going to be forever. So you had the PPP program where the government essentially would pay your employees for you. And then after they lifted the lockdowns, you can go back to business and keep all your employees. Now, the program was really vulnerable to a lot of fraud because the government didn't really have the infrastructure in place to verify what people were telling them. And since people really needed the money at this time, they kind of allowed people to say whatever they needed to say to kind of get the money and then would verify it later. And now you see a lot of this fraud is being exposed because the government said, we'll trust you because we need you to get you the money, and then we'll verify things later.
Oh, the government is going to trust you to just do with the money what you say you're going to do with the money because they say you need the money. So people did some things they weren't supposed to. With the government in charge of things, anything like this happen, right? Our government. How could anything like this happen under our government?
And now, as they're verifying things later, you get people like Miss Robertson.
Shalitha Renee Robertson was indicted on charges that she stole millions of tax dollars. Hello, it's Justin Gray with Channel 2. I'm trying to reach Shalitha Robertson. No answer at the call box to the front gates of Chateau Royale, the Grand, South Fulton.
Wow, look at that house. Look at that property. Did that money come from the COVID too? I mean, wow, look at that. That's a beautiful house. That, Rolls Royces. Good Lord. I mean, that COVID was good for someone. That COVID was good for some people. Some people got rich off the COVID.
The state listed with the Secretary of State as the principal address of Shalitha Robertson's company, the Renee Group. Shalitha Renee Robertson is a former Atlanta police officer and Atlanta city attorney who currently has a lucrative contract with DeKalb County worth millions to repair sewage and water systems. She's also just been charged in this federal indictment, alleged to have stolen $7 million in COVID relief Paycheck Protection Program funds intended to help keep people employed during the pandemic. In a Channel 2 Action News investigation last month, we found more than 553,000 Georgia businesses received PPP loans, totaling more than $24 billion just in Georgia. But
what? How much was that package again? How much of the taxpayer money that they did for this thing? If 24B with a B billion went to just Georgia, and we got the whole rest of the 50 states, y'all. If somebody know, tell me how much that package was, because my God, taxpayer money. People getting rich off the taxpayer. God, this is some terrible stuff. People is wicked.
Federal prosecutors told us that tens of millions of dollars of that money here in Georgia went to fake companies trying to steal your tax dollars.
So as you can see, people were robbing the PPP program like it was going out of style. And it seems like that's what happened with Miss Robertson.
Goes back to what I've always told you. Don't ever chase the money. The money will come.
Chase the universe, not the bag.
That's it. Chase your passion, baby. Chase your dream. The money will come.
She got her bag. She got her bag. She wasn't chasing it. The COVID came to her. The COVID came to her and she got her bag.
Yeah, the money will come courtesy of the American taxpayers.
Reports say that Robertson, along with her co-conspirators, submitted fraudulent PPP loan applications for multiple companies that they owned, inflating their employee numbers and payroll amounts to receive larger loans than they were entitled to. Now, Robertson even involved her family, transferring $50,000 of PPP funds to her daughter. Now, the transfer is part of a broader misuse of funds, which also included large cash withdrawals and significant payments to her co-conspirator, Sandra Norton. Now, Norton was another attorney in the area who had pled guilty earlier and was cooperating with federal authorities. Now, Robertson got, I think, about $15 million in pandemic money, and she used that money and flossed it hard. She bought a Rolls Royce, motorcycles, houses, and a 10-carat diamond ring that cost about $140,000. But she also spread the wealth out in other ways. For instance, she gave $1,000 to Fani Willis's Democratic primary election campaign. Now, Robertson was hoping to become a judge in Fulton County. She had ran for the position in 2010 and lost in the primary. Then when Willis started running for district attorney, she supported Willis in hopes to have Willis's support when she ran for judge again. Now,
Wow, Nate the lawyer just said a whole lot right there. So she ran. She didn't get in. So when Fani got in, she was like, yeah, this is my way of getting in. I'm gonna drop some of this PPP money in that fanny pack, right? I'm gonna give fanny pack some of this money, right? And so when I'm ready to run again, I'm gonna have me that DA in my back pocket. I'm gonna have that fanny in my back pocket. I'm gonna have that fanny in my back ass, right? Wow, fanny pack.
I'm gonna stop here real quick because let's say you're injured because of someone else's negligence. Things like car accidents, truck accidents, defective products, or defective drugs. Give me a call at 571-NATE-LAW. That's 571-NATE-LAW. Or you can also click on the link in the description. Now, we can represent you or we can help you find the right attorney. Now, it's incredibly important to speak to an attorney right away to protect your rights. Now, obviously, this is not good news for Fani Willis. See, for those of you who don't know, Fani Willis was found to be having a relationship with one of her prosecutors. Matter of fact, the top prosecutor who was prosecuting the Trump case.
Man, Nate the lawyer, you're kind of a gentleman, to put it that way, about old Fanny. You're a real gentleman. Because, you know, that's not the words I would use. I'm just saying.
Now, it was found out that during this sexual relationship, the person that she had hired to prosecute the Trump case was taking her on these lavish vacations across the world, spending thousands and thousands of dollars on her. Now, that generally would be okay, but the money that he was using to take her on these trips was the same money that she was paying him to prosecute Trump. That turns into a conflict of interest. Fani Willis then told the court that she actually paid her boyfriend back in cash, and no one really believed that.
Yeah, what she said? She said, yeah, I keeps cash. I keeps cash in my nightstand. The money right there in my nightstand. Don't you know my daddy done taught me well how to keep cash.
Ever paid him anything other than cash?
I've only given cash a few times in the course of what we're talking about.
So you've never
if we would go to dinner,
let her finish her answers.
If we would go to dinner, I wouldn't give him cash because he paid for dinner or I paid for dinner. I've given him cash only a few times in life, probably 4.
Okay.
Probably the most money I've ever handed him is $2,500. The least amount of money I've handed him, probably between $500 and $1,000.
You never wrote him a check?
Ma'am, I don't have checks.
Okay.
She don't have checks. Ma'am, I don't have checks. What you asking me these dumb questions for?
So you have no proof of any reimbursement for any of these things because it was all cash, right?
The testimony of one witness is enough to prove a fact.
So my question was, do you have any proof?
Is that what you're intimating right here?
So at the end of the day, the court said that, well, hey, Either you can drop this case or you got to fire your boyfriend. She fired her boyfriend. And now an appeals court said, well, hold on. This thing stinks to high hell. Before you can move on, we're going to look at this one more time to make sure the judge got it right.
Breaking news. A Georgia appeals court has now agreed to take up the Trump team's appeal of the Fani Willis disqualification ruling. Now, lower court had already ruled that Willis can remain on that case. So what happens there now?
So the Trump team wants to appeal the decision. They would like Fani Willis kicked off the case entirely. The judge has ruled that Fani Willis could stay as long as her former paramour, Nathan Wade, was removed from the case to avoid even the appearance of any kind of a conflict. So he's off the case. Fani Willis is on. The appellate court has agreed to take up the matter. They haven't, agreed to any decision, but they've at least agreed to take it up.
So what this holdup does is now push the potential trial back after the election. Why is that important? Well, if Trump is elected president while he is being prosecuted in Georgia, that prosecution has to be stopped until after he finishes his presidency, because he'll have what's called sovereign immunity. Each president of the United States can't be prosecuted in any court in the world because of the concept of sovereign immunity. They are essentially the head of state and head of government of the United States. So they can't be prosecuted for crimes while in office. They'll have to get kicked out of office or leave office, and then you can be prosecuted for crimes. So this could potentially end the Fani Willis case if Trump is elected. Now, our wannabe Judge Robertson was given 7 years in the big house because of her fraud, and she'll still have to serve 3 years after she comes out on supervised release. Now, she's 62. That means she'll be dealing with this until she's about 72. Now, it's crazy because this woman was an attorney, a police officer, a city attorney. She's got a beautiful daughter and she's got all this stuff going for her. She's running to be a judge and she's out there fleecing the government blind. $15 million stolen, which is insane. Now, as the New York Post reports, Robertson broke down in tears upon hearing her sentence. 7 years, hard time. And she was telling the court that she was dead broke. My business is gone. My law license is gone. My assets are gone. The only thing I have left is my family and my faith in God, she said. So at the end of the day, justice was served. I believe this woman did what she did and now is getting just desserts. I just feel bad because the taxpayers are the ones out of the money. She's not going to be able to pay that money back. She's going to be sitting in a prison cell for the next 10 years. Now, it's wild because I think the people who did get a lot of that money, maybe her daughter, her family, and all the people, should definitely have to pay that money back, wherever that money was funneled to, and hopefully they can get back something. So now, at the end of the day, what do you think should happen? Do you think, number one, should Fani Willis give back that $1,000? You really don't know if it's PPP money or not, but because this question is there, I think it'd be an easy thing to say, here's that $1,000 back. I don't want any money from any potential fraud. Also, what about the 7 years? Do you think that's too much time?
No. Thank you, Nate, the lawyer. Love him. He does such a great job of putting all the law stuff together, especially these cases. So whenever I see a video from Nate, I'm like, yeah, I know this is a good one. I know this is a good one because he really lays it out, right? So shout out to Nate, the lawyer. Thank you for that great work that you've done. So guys, before we continue on with the next thing I want to show, the wild, wild Georgia, what's happening in Georgia. We've covered, the people in Georgia, how they feel about Fani Willis. We've talked about Courtney, the Republican who's going to take her on in the general. We've talked about the corrupt judge who gave Fani Willis money. And we're going to take one more look at another wild, wild west showcase happening in Georgia. But before we do, I'm going to show a quick little video of something new that I've got going on. So I'm actually going to do that right now. I'm going to hold on. Here we go. Hello, fellow patriots. I am so proud to announce our new line of patriotic candles. They come in 5 different scents. They are amazing scents. If you are a candle person, or if you know somebody who is a candle person, then you know we live by candles. And this would make an amazing present, a gift for anybody you know. This is a great product, very well made, lovely scents. and they are soothing and comfortable and patriotic, just in time to light them up for the 4th holiday, just in time to burn for freedom. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to burn them and light them up for freedom. So go to OrlandoPatriot.com and get yourself 30% off right now.
I'm going to hold you under, still hold you in summary criminal contempt. I'm going to order that you be taken into custody.
So what you just saw there was a short little clip from what we're going to look at next. That is the RICO case in Georgia. And who you just saw there, that woman, this Ashley Merchant, and she was the one who was dealing when Fani Willis was was testifying, that pink dress video that you just saw right there from Nate the lawyer. So Ashley was that woman, that lawyer, and somehow she's now involved in this because the lawyer for Young Slime, the judge held him in contempt and he needed his own lawyer. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So he's sitting in court talking to the judge, and the judge says you're in contempt, and now he needs his own lawyer. Actually show up herself and 50 lawyers. I mean, the drama is unreal. So we're going to take a look at that right now. The drama keeps going and going and going in Georgia. When I tell you this stuff is better than the soap operas, One Life to Live has nothing on these people. General Hospital has nothing on these people. I mean, my God. All right, we're going to add this.
Incarcerated at Fulton County
for the next 2 hours, and you heard it right there. Attorney Brian Steele, who is representing rapper Young Thug in his Georgia racketeering trial, was held in contempt of court on Monday afternoon and was actually sentenced to jail time. We're going to talk about that. I'm talking about a criminal contempt of court. The drama unfolded when Steele brought forth knowledge of an ex parte. That means a conversation that happened outside the presence of counsel and not in the courtroom. A conversation that supposedly took place before the court began, involving the judge and prosecutors, where the state's witness, Kenneth Woody Copeland, allegedly admitted to killing Donovan Thomas Jr. Before this, Copeland, who is a convicted felon, had finally agreed to testify after having been arrested last Friday for invoking his Fifth Amendment right in front of the jury. Criminal defense attorney Ashley Merchant, who is also the president of the Georgia Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, represented Brian Steele in trying to obtain his release from custody after the jury was excused. Merchant is representing co-defendant Michael Roman in the racketeering case against former President Donald Trump. Rapper Jeffrey Williams, who is known better as Young Thug, stands accused, along with 5 other co-defendants, of violating Georgia's Racketeer Influence Corrupt Organization Act, also known as RICO. Young Thug is also accused of participating in a criminal street gang known as YSL, which stands for Young Slime Life. Now, this is really, really an unbelievable honor to be able to have Ashley Merchant actually with us right now. Ashley, I got to be honest with you. We said this before we went on there. I knew you are the real deal. I watched you making this argument in court. When your client was first held in contempt, my tweet out to the world was, wow, in all the years as a trial lawyer, with all the friction that's happened between attorneys and judges, I've never seen a judge for something is like this hold somebody in criminal contempt, especially without a hearing and without recusing himself, as he is a witness. These are arguments you very eloquently made. And if anybody wants to know, go to our executive producer, Kathy Russin's Twitter feed or wherever Kathy is, because you can actually see Ashley Merchant making the argument that it's not right. Ashley, last point. As a prosecutor for most of my career, and now as a criminal defense attorney, I don't care what side of the fence I was on, I find this to be repugnant to the administration of justice and chilling to attorneys who are making forceful and efficacious arguments to a court. This judge was out of control in my mind. What's going on down there in Fulton County? Seems to be a lot of arrogance by people in positions of authority. Wink, wink.
I know Fulton County is in its own league at this point. It was shocking to me as well to have a member of our bar, an esteemed member of our bar, which I think you could see if you were watching the live feed. He had a lot of support, but Brian Steele is beloved in our community. He is a nationwide known criminal defense lawyer, has a wonderful reputation. And so we were all honored to come to his defense. It was unfortunate that it was needed though, because all he was doing was zealously advocating for his client. And what appeared to be the judge being caught doing something wrong himself sort of deflected and said, oh, well, now I want to know who actually outed me. I want you to snitch on whoever it is that told you this. I want to deflect from my wrongdoing and try and turn it around.
Judge,
and
just for the record, so
Ashley, let's drill down a little bit more about where this began. Okay, so ex parte communications, that is without one of the other sides present, is an extremely unusual and very coveted thing. It's got to be done for specific reasons. But please explain to our audience I've actually had a case where this happened to me. Prosecutors were allowed in chambers with a judge with a sworn witness who now decided he was going to testify. And what was the argument that Mr. Steele was making?
It is unheard of, as you said. Normally we have very specific reasons that you can have an ex parte hearing, and this is not one of them. This witness was in the middle of testifying, had been incarcerated for not being willing to testify. He said he had a Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. He was exercising that, and he spent the weekend in jail. And everyone expected him to come back to the stand Monday morning, testify. All of the defense lawyers were sitting out of the courtroom for a couple hours while the state and he was the defendant in that action, the actual person who was held in contempt, the witness, he was back in closed door and chambers having this ex parte communication about whether or not he was going to stay in jail for contempt or if he was going to testify. That's just unheard of, but ex parte essentially means that the defense is not present. So none of the defense lawyers, Brian Steele and all of the other defense lawyers, they didn't know about this meeting. They weren't able to participate in this meeting. So it was completely ex parte, completely behind closed doors. And they wanted a copy of the transcript. They wanted to know what happened. They wanted all of that information. They're entitled to all of that. What they were asking for is not unreasonable. It's something that they're legally entitled to. And Judge Glanville denied it and then held them in contempt for not being willing to divulge how they found out about his misdeeds.
Yeah, how dare you find out about something we did that wasn't right? And if you don't tell me who told you, I'm going to throw you in jail. Now, we're going to get into and carve out the maybe attorney-client privilege, or the privilege goes beyond that. It also goes to information that goes beyond even what a client may tell you. But we'll get into that in a minute. So do I understand that the gentleman who asserted his Fifth Amendment right, this witness that the government wanted on the stand, was literally in the judge's chambers when this was, it wasn't just lawyers, he was there as well, and the argument is he was being coerced and threatened to testify?
Yes, that is.
Before she goes on, I just have to say, you guys, this guy who was on the stand, they asked him his age. He would not eat. He took the fifth. He pled the fifth on telling his age. And I think he pled the fifth on telling his name. Like, they know who you are. They know your name. They know your age. But he still pled the fifth. I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was crazy. But we're going to let Ashley Merchant continue.
Right. And it is unbelievable. I mean, it just sounds unbelievable. Like you couldn't make something like this up. So the prosecutor asked to have this in camera, review where they went back in the court's chambers. They had a court reporter, decided to invite a court reporter, but did not decide to invite the defense, and discussed how long he would have to remain in custody if he refused to testify. So the state had given him immunity for his testimony, but he still said he wanted to plead the fifth and didn't want to testify. And so they were discussing that and discussing how long he would be held in custody if he did decide not to testify. That's something that the defense has right to know. That's something that they should be able to cross-examine this witness on if he changed his testimony based on that.
Yes, I was just going to say to you, I mean, the defense has an absolute right for expectation of benefit or for whatever reason or whatever conversation may have occurred in order to impair his credibility to bring out what happened. How is the judge possibly, I mean, we can put the contempt aside right now. Is the defense in possession of the transcript and what was said during that ex parte conversation so that the motives of the witness can be explored?
No, and they all asked for it yesterday, and that's what Mr. Steele was arguing about and was asking for when this contempt happened. And then at the end of the day, all of the lawyers again asked for those transcripts. I asked for a copy of the transcript because I thought that it would be important for our appeal because we're able to appeal immediately, an emergency appeal of the contempt finding. And I thought it was relevant. You know, I think that everybody should be entitled to it.
You know what? Fani Willis was also in the room with the judge, the witness, her lawyer teams, and Fani Willis. All of them were in there during this supposed conversation.
And what the law says is if you inadvertently have this ex parte, you know, let's say that the judge had this ex parte and said, oops, I forgot to invite the defense. The law says you can remedy that by immediately telling everybody what happened. So the remedy is to give them the transcript, and they're still refusing to even do that.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of makes me think that the judge is saying, all I want to know is the name of the person. Well, that may be the reason the judge said that is so that he can maintain the integrity of the proceedings, but that doesn't mean you don't give him the transcript so he can cross-examine the witness. This is a major faux pas, and as a former prosecutor for probably more than I've been a defense lawyer, I would be very worried that if there's a conviction in this case, that this is a substantial matter on appeal. They are walking through a bad door here. Last point that I want to ask you, Ashley, now you made very articulate arguments, and I want you to explain to our audience when you were trying to pigeonhole the judge, and you did such a good job. I knew you were doing it. You were holding your tongue and hope, but you were really getting there about the difference between a criminal contempt in the face of the court that could interrupt an actual proceeding as opposed to a civil contempt where you're actually trying to force the witness to give information, and that the judge found this to be a criminal contempt. Explain this difference. And in Georgia, explain to me, because at least in Jersey, where I practice law, and I'm pretty sure in New York, if you're going to hold somebody in criminal contempt, you have due process rights, rights to be noticed, you have a right to a hearing, and you have a right to a hearing outside the presence, actually with another judge, because the judge holding you in contempt could be a witness. Talk to me.
Right. And so you know that there's different standards for civil and criminal. So essentially what Judge Glanville was doing was he was taking what was good for him from the civil rules and what was good for him from the criminal rules and merging them. And that's not how it works. You don't get a civil penalty and then follow the criminal rules. So what he essentially wanted to do was he wanted to hold Brian Steele in custody until he talked. That's what he wanted to do. And that's civil. That's a civil contempt. That's something like, if, you know, your viewers may understand child support. Let's say someone doesn't pay child support. They can be held in custody until they pay the child support. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to hold Brian Steele in custody until he squealed, until he talked. That is civil. But he said, well, I'm holding him in criminal contempt. Well, criminal contempt does not allow you to hold someone in custody until you talk. Criminal contempt is a punishment. It's not something that can be remedied. You can't purge yourself. You can't, you know, do an action to get out of it. It's something where you have a certain hearing, you have due process rights. And if he wanted to hold him in criminal contempt, that's fine. Let's just do it the right way. And the right way, it's criminal. It's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You have witnesses testify. Someone has to swear on the record about a criminal contempt. It is guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You have a right to a witness list. You have a right to notice of what you're being accused of. He didn't have any of that. He didn't even have a hearing. I asked the court reporter at the end of the day, can I get a transcript of the hearing? And she just looked at me like, what hearing? You know, there was no hearing. It was just this summary criminal contempt without any of the due process. And the biggest thing was another judge should hear it, because who is the biggest witness in the room? Judge Glanville. He witnessed the ex parte. He witnessed this alleged contempt. He is the one who needs to be taking the witness stand in question. So he needed to refer this to another judge, and he was just unwilling to do that.
Now, Ashley, you're president of the criminal.
Wow, I'm going to take a breath right there, because that was a lot. Like, this judge. So this judge is like the biggest witness if he's going to go that route. I mean, this stuff is bananas. This stuff is crazy. Oh my God. Wow. my head is spinning. Like, I watched bits of this yesterday. I was like glued. I mean, it was like being back in my day when I used to watch the soap operas. I was like this. Oh my God, is this really happening? So there is so much more to this drama, you guys. I just pulled this particular one. There's so much more. And I may just dive into that rabbit hole and present some more. But man, when I tell you this stuff is good, this stuff is so, so good. Oh.
Defense Association, obviously you're a sophisticated and very, very good lawyer. I was very impressed, like I said. Don't say that often about many trial lawyers out there. Yeah. But I got to tell you what, you got some solidarity, at least from a lot of lawyers up here, myself included. One of my guests that's going to be on the show to my left right now, I can see her vigorously shaking her head in the affirmative. And I think it's a sad day. I think the judge lost his composure. That's what it seemed to me. He got himself and went down a rabbit hole that he couldn't get himself out. But, you know, judges have an authority, but not, in my opinion, that much authority. And I hate to tie these two things together, but I couldn't help but think, like, there's another incident that's going on down there in your county. And as a former prosecutor who ran an office that had her job, it's not a question of whether there's maybe illegality associated with it. You know better than to do this. You have an instinct never to do something where your propriety can be taken into question. Mm-hmm. So when the judge did this, who I found to be pretty reasonable and doing a pretty good job, it just seemed to me like, wow, there's like a power thing going on down there where people think they can do whatever they want and that there's not going to be any repercussions. Am I wrong to draw those parallels?
You are not wrong at all. Fulton County is a league in its own. I used to be a Fulton County public defender. I've spent the last 20 years litigating cases in Fulton County. It is its own system. And what you're saying is completely accurate. You know, the checks and balances don't always apply in Fulton County. And to your point, you know, this is the same prosecutor's office that Fani Willis runs. She is the prosecutor. Yeah. So she could have put an end to this. Her prosecutors are the ones that did this. Mm-hmm. They are just as liable for an ex parte hearing as the judge. They are the ones, like you said, who have a duty to step back and say, you know what, this isn't okay. This is not how we should be proceeding. And that didn't happen. And I think, you know, it shows the systematic issues that we have in Fulton County and that we have historically in this jurisdiction. And we all thought when Fani Willis ran for office that she was going to fix it because her predecessor had years and years of, you know, indiscretions and issues and things like that. And so we were all very hopeful that it was a new day, but unfortunately it hasn't been.
Yeah, I have to say it is coming loud and clear to those who are used to a different kind of system of justice mm-hmm. down there. But you know what? When people have always asked me the question, how could you have been a prosecutor and be a defense lawyer? I think you can put this in a box and put a bow on it for the answer as to why criminal defense attorneys, not just the arrogance of power, but tampering potentially and coercing a witness in the substantive case itself. Ashley
right.
Merchant.
Completely.
Thank you so much. Great job. Keep up the good work. And I'm definitely going to be following you now. And on this note, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Thank you.
How do I make myself big? Here I go. So how exciting was that? Now, I think that Ashley could give Fani Willis a run for her money and take her job. You know, I think that could be done. She would be she could do Fani Willis's job. She could be the district attorney. I think she could do that, right? She really could. Oh my God, what a smart and intelligent woman. And so you guys, there is, like I said, a lot more drama there. There's a lot of court activity happening with that, where Ashley goes to work and they show you this. So I'm not going to input that here now, but maybe in another live stream, we can just take it from bit by bit and just kind of go through it. Bring the popcorn, bring your coffee or your wine, whatever you do, and we can just go bit by bit and watch Ashley do this thing, because this RICO trial is so entertaining. I mean, it's unbelievable. So friends, tell me what y'all think. Let's see what's happening in the chat. So our one-headed friend, oh, thank Thank you. One-handed friend, you bought some candles. Wonderful. Let me know which one you got and tell me how you like it. Oh my God, I'm excited. Thank you. And then he says the judge knew he was busted and couldn't allow himself to be humbled. You know what? I think you're right. Now, if any of you have already seen bits and pieces of it, yeah, that judge was seriously angry. He stormed out of there like it was a show. And you know, and One-Headed is right. If he had humbled himself and you said, you know what, if I think there was a moment while I was watching him, I was like, I think he just realized the truth. I think he just realized what's happening, but he wouldn't humble himself. He wouldn't say, you know what, I made a mistake. You know, I'm human too. Maybe let's start this over. You know, here's what you need. Let's start it over. But no, that's not the route he took. He doubled down and he tripled down, and then he put the man, and they took the man off. Like, he got this man arrested like crazy. So tomorrow the drama is probably gonna continue. There's more and more videos out there, and I just may do that because I'm really interested in it, because I think it's critically important for us to watch these things. We're literally watching history. This court case could become like the longest trial in history. Like, it's on its way if it hasn't even gone there. Again, Fulton County, Georgia. It's crazy. The corruption is real, and the corruption is real. So you said, I'd like to see Ashley Merchant on the Supreme Court. She might make a good difference there. Oh my God, right? The Supreme Court, right in time to let Trump off. Just saying. So guys, thank you, One-Headeder, Lizette Taylor, The Arena, and everybody that came through. Thank you all so much. I think we're gonna wrap it up. I'm trying to think of anything else that I wanted to do while we were on there. I think I played all the clips I wanted to play. Yeah, I think I did it. Okay, I had a Van Jones, but we'll save him for another day. We'll save him for another day. The Supreme Court of Georgia has put a stay on Steele's incarceration. Huh? Steele's, huh? Oh man. Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. That's good. At least somebody's doing something. The lawyers have put a hold on it for Young Thug's lawyer. So we'll see how that goes. But the drama continues, friend. The drama will continue. And so I thank you for coming through. I didn't get a chance to post it out there in the community today, but I'm going to try to do that. Definitely try to post it when I'm going live, so you guys know and plan to be with me if you're able to. Really excited to be doing the live streams. It's something I've been wanting to work on for quite a while, and now I'm gonna, not that I'm not gonna make our regular videos, I will, but I'm gonna try to at least do a live stream once a week. And I'm gonna also do some premieres, some videos that I'll watch along with you. This way I can chat, and we can just chat it up like that. And I think I want to do some premieres as well. And I'm going to continue to do my regular videos as well. So we've got exciting times. And I want to say thank you again for coming through. Thank you, One-Headed Man, for supporting the channel. You really do. You must love the conservative poet. And I love you too. So thank you. And I'm going to say God bless you guys. God keep you. And I will see you in another video, another live stream. And we're going to keep an eye out on Fani Willis in Georgia and see what kind of foolishness they got going on. Okay, and I'll see you again. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, thank you, Annette. Thank you. All righty. God bless you guys. I'm going to play my Audi. Where's my Audi? Oh, I didn't put it up. That's okay. I'll play my intro. Where is that? Lost that one too? Oh, here it is.